At my dad's wedding, my name was tucked at the last table with distant cousins I barely remembered. Had to prioritize, my stepmom said, smiling like she'd just handed me a party favor instead of an insult. At the front, my stepbrother sat beside my dad right where the family spotlight was aimed. I looked at my dad, waiting for him to notice how wrong this felt. He barely glanced at me before turning back to his conversation, like the seating chart had never crossed his mind. That glance, careless, unbothered, told me everything. Not the table placement, not Linda's smirk, but his complete lack of recognition that it was a problem, because to him, it wasn't. I smoothed my dress, took a breath, and said, "Thanks for making it so easy." Then I walked out. No scene, no slammed doors, just heels on pavement, the cool air outside, and a steady calm I didn't expect. For years, I thought this moment would wreck me. Instead, I felt lighter. They'd shown me exactly where I stood, and for the first time, I believed them. No one followed me, no one called. They were inside celebrating, and my absence didn't register. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was predictable. Driving away, I realized I'd been preparing for this for years. My dad had been pulling away long before Linda or Ethan. It started when I chose nursing over business, law, or finance, careers he considered real. He didn't argue, just sighed, like I'd announced I was throwing my life away. "You'll be exhausted for bad pay," he'd said. "Why pick the lowest option?" From then on, my work barely existed in his eyes. He never asked about my classes or my first hospital job, but when Ethan launched a business, Dad invested, bragged, celebrated every milestone. Ethan was building something, I was just working. Still, I showed up for my dad. I checked his blood pressure, managed his meds, arranged his appointments. Every time, he brushed it off. "It's not like you're a real doctor. You're making too big a deal out of this." I should have walked away then, but I didn't, because he was still my dad, and I kept hoping that meant something. Sitting in that parking lot, staring at my silent phone, I realized something. It didn't matter. And for the first time, I was fine with that. Not a single text that night, no last-minute damage control, no half-hearted "where'd you go?" from my dad, no pretend it was a joke message from Linda, just silence. I went home, kicked off my heels, ordered takeout, scrolled my phone like it was any other night. I wasn't angry, I wasn't sad, I was done. The next morning, the first ping came. "Aunt Jan, hey, are you okay?" Ignored. Then a cousin, "Saw you leave early, everything all right?" Ignored. Finally, my dad, "We need to talk." No apology, no acknowledgement, just a demand. Left on read. Days passed, still no guilt, no replaying conversations in my head, no wondering if I was overreacting, just quiet, and it was nice. A week later, Aunt Jan called. "You need to talk to your dad." I waited. "He's in the hospital." I almost laughed, not because it was funny, because of course. "He's fine," she added, "but he needs help. Not he misses you, not he feels bad, just he needs." Turns out he'd ignored his blood pressure, his symptoms, his meds. Before, I'd have caught it early, I'd have been there, but now, I wasn't answering his calls, and suddenly, it mattered. The family scrambled. Linda called, ignored. Ethan called, ignored. Aunt Jan again. "You know how he is. He doesn't mean things the way they sound." I exhaled. "Then tell me what he meant." Silence. Because we both knew he meant it. Every slight, every comment, every time he made me feel small, and now he just wanted me back. Another text from him. "I need to talk to you. Still know I'm sorry. Still know I was wrong. Just I need." I turned off my phone. A week later, he was discharged. Now he needed ongoing care, the kind I used to provide for free. He couldn't afford to hire it. Linda tried one last time. "I think we should put the past behind us. Your dad is struggling. This is a family matter." I laughed. "Family? That's rich." A few weeks ago, I was sitting at the cousin table. Silence. So which is it? I asked. Am I family, or just someone you ignore until you need something? That's not fair. Neither was your seating chart. I hung up. Maybe they found someone cheaper, maybe they figured it out. All I know is they stopped calling, and I haven't heard from them since. They stopped calling for a while, and I thought that was it, they'd figure it out. Or my dad would finally accept I wasn't coming back just because it was convenient. Then Linda showed up at my job. I was finishing paperwork when I heard her at the front desk. I'm here to see my stepdaughter. It's urgent. The receptionist told her personal visits weren't allowed, but Linda had that polite but pushy tone that always got her past boundaries. I stepped out before she made a scene. What are you doing here? She smiled like we were old friends, just wanted to talk. We already did over the phone. This isn't about me, your father. No, he's not doing well. Yeah, that's what happens when you ignore your health for years. She pressed on. We can't afford full-time care. Then you should have prioritized better. Her eyes flickered. She knew exactly what I meant. This isn't the time for grudges, she said. He's your father. If he needs care, hire someone, or ask Ethan, he's the successful one, right? He's busy. Yeah, thought so. I turned to leave. She grabbed my wrist. You owe him. I pulled free. No, I don't. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. A week later, my dad called. Linda said she talked to you, he said. She did. I think we should talk in person. Oh, now you want to see me? Come by the house. Dinner, just us. Against my better judgment, I agreed. The next night, I sat across from him at a table that smelled of takeout. For a while, we ate in silence. Then he asked, so, how's work? You don't care about my job, Dad. That's not true. Really, because last time, you called it a waste. I didn't ask you here to argue, he said. Then why am I here? I need your help. There it was. You mean free medical care? I wouldn't put it like that. How would you put it? Since you know all this stuff, maybe you could save us money. I set my fork down. You know what's funny? That's what I used to do, help you when no one else would, and you still made me feel like I wasn't good enough. That's not fair. No, where was this concern at your wedding, when Linda put me at the back table and you let her? He didn't answer. You don't want a daughter, I said. You want a free nurse. That's not true. Then what is it? What do you actually want from me? He couldn't answer. That was the last time I saw him. He texted a few times, then stopped. Months later, I heard he'd hired a nurse he could barely afford. Ethan didn't help. Linda refused to do it herself. A year later, a text from an unknown number. Dad's in the hospital again. Thought you should know. I blocked it. 2 years later, I'd almost forgotten about him. I still heard things. His health was bad. Money was tight. Linda was stressed. But none of it was my problem anymore, and without the constant pressure to prove myself to people who didn't care, I wasn't just fine. I was free. My life got easier. The work was still hard, the shifts still long, but I liked it. I had real friends, people who valued me. I traveled. I saved for things that mattered. Meanwhile, my dad had exactly what he'd chosen, a wife with nowhere else to go. A son too busy to answer his calls, and a pile of medical bills. I didn't realize how bad it had gotten until my cousin Liam texted, I know you don't want to hear this, but it's bad. What's bad? I asked. Your dad, his broke, had to sell the house. It wasn't just a house, it was the one he'd fought to keep after the divorce, the one he and Linda had remodeled for years. Where is he now? Some small rental, asking everyone for money. Let me guess, he told you to reach out. No, Linda did. Of course she did. 2 days later, Linda called. I didn't answer. Her voicemail, I know you're still upset, but we need to talk. No, we didn't. I deleted it. A month later, Dad's in the hospital again. Thought you should know. Blocked. 3 months after that, I ran into Ethan at a coffee shop, expensive suit, designer watch. Arrogance to match. Still doing the nurse thing, huh? He smirked. Still avoiding Dad's calls? I asked. His grin faltered. What do you want me to do? He put himself here. He gave you everything, and you can't throw him a little help. You didn't help either. Yeah, I said, because he treated me like garbage. What's your excuse? He didn't have one. 6 months later, Liam told me Dad had moved into a rundown nursing facility, the only place he could afford. Ethan really won't help? I asked. Nope, won't visit either. I thought about going, but I already knew how it would go. No apology, no acknowledgement, just expectations, and I wasn't stepping back into that role ever again. A year later, I saw Ethan on TV, sitting in a glass-walled office, bragging about his company's success, a millionaire. And my dad's choice. Now that choice had him in a failing nursing home, alone while Ethan thrived. While I thrived. It hit me then, I had one, not in revenge, but in reality. I'd built a life worth living. My dad had built his own outcome, too, one made of favoritism and dismissal. And now he was living it. Liam's final text came months later. Dad passed away last night. Thought you should know. I stared at it. No tears, no relief, nothing, and that told me everything. Thanks for letting me know, I typed back. Then I put my phone down and got ready for my shift, because, unlike my dad, I still had people to take care of.